Hello, how are you all doing? Hope you're all doing very well this evening. And before I start, I have moved around sort of the camera setting, the lighting, and now you have a perfect view of the dartboard. Now, one day I will take that down, I promise, because I never play anymore, but it's just there. Okay, so it's in perfect angle of the camera, so you'll have to just put up with it, I'm afraid. Good acceptance of the dartboard. Right, so I want to jump on here and talk about why it feels like there is no way out along the OCD recovery journey. Something that I felt many, many times, feeling trapped, felt like I was in the cycle forever. Felt like any chance of recovery was impossible, felt like I was treatment resistant, felt like I just couldn't get any better, felt like progress wasn't going to happen to me. And I will explain, and I'll also provide some examples of why that happened to me, and probably things that you can relate to if you're struggling with this and you feel totally trapped in your own mind. Okay, so first of all, it feels convincingly real. All right, whatever it may be, it might be real event, false memory. You might be suffering with sensory motor OCD, POCD, harm OCD, cheating OCD, existential, ROCD, and it can feel so real that it takes you off your feet and go, all my attention now, I'm totally consumed on my fear, on an event in the past, on a thought that I had at an unwanted time, let's say during intimacy, something I had very often. I could be so consumed with my relationship. Am I in the right relationship? Have I found the one? I can't enjoy this relationship because I feel like I can't relate to this person. I feel like I don't even like this person. Okay, all ways that OCD can manifest. And it feels utterly, totally, convincingly real. Okay, that's the reality of it. If it didn't feel real, I wouldn't be making this video today, because I would say, no, that's OCD. Look at it like a cloud going past and just don't engage with it. Yes, that is a key part of the recovery process. However, it feels so real because that's a disorder that it is. Okay, if it didn't feel real, OCD wouldn't be this disorder. I mean, like I said, I wouldn't be making this video. I'm sure this community wouldn't exist if it didn't feel as real as it does. Okay, so that's something to be aware of, how convincingly and utterly real it's going to feel. All right, you're not going to tell the difference whether it's real or not. It will feel as real as it can possibly get. Okay. Another reason why I felt trapped and like there was no way out. If I go back to the start of my recovery journey, when I first started learning about intrusive thoughts, started sort of seeing the symptoms online when I was Googling about OCD, I started seeing what it was and I could relate to the symptoms. And I remember getting help before I came to OCD recovery, and this was quite sort of basic knowledge. And there was a lot of lack of knowledge and understanding. Okay, so even my little reading that I did of OCD, I felt like I knew more than the person that I was trying to get help from. Okay, and that's not a dig at anyone. That's not sort of downing anyone. But it's just, that is the reality. I feel like if you haven't experienced OCD, if you haven't experienced it firsthand, it's going to be really, really difficult to grasp it and really understand how it operates, how real it can feel, how it can latch onto something in the past and you feel totally consumed with guilt. It's hard to sort of appreciate that and understand it if you haven't experienced it. Okay, so that left me feeling utterly helpless, utterly hopeless when I was doing the first couple of therapy sessions elsewhere and felt like I wasn't getting anywhere. Okay, I was coming out of there going, oh my God, I feel more stuck than when I went in. Oh my God, there's really no hope for me. I feel like there is really no way out now. I feel treatment resistant. I feel like I'm going to be stuck with this forever. And I thought, oh my God, what do I do now? Where do I turn? Okay, now I often talk about a lot why it can feel like you're trapped inside a mental prison, so stuck inside your own mind, sort of you're a prisoner of your own mind. And let me give you some examples. All right, so when you're so caught up in the avoidance cycle, so your sort of boundaries or your where you. If you're avoiding so much, you'd avoid certain areas of life. Let's say you have POCD, you could be avoiding spending time with kids. You could be avoiding walking past a park. You could be avoiding walking past a school. Let's say you have harm OCD. You could be avoiding going into the kitchen and getting a knife to cook, or you could be avoiding so much. You could be avoiding socializing because you're so scared you're going to harm someone or lose control. You could be avoiding relationships because you have ROCD. So you don't want to get into a relationship, you don't want to commit just in case ROCD pipes up and makes you feel like shit, and you just really don't want it to latch. And this is why we can gradually feel trapped inside the mental prison and feel like there's no way out of that, and just feel like we're only stuck in the avoidance, reassurance, compulsion cycle. Okay, if you're suffering with taboo related themes, that can also feel very, very difficult, because even talking to people when you're so scared, the fear of being misunderstood is very high, the fear of being rejected is very high, and the fear of someone judging you, because usually OCD latches onto something that you really, really fear. Now, if you really fear of an unwanted thought coming in during sexual intimacy, then that's opening the floodgates to OCD, because OCD knows you're not going to like that, so it's going to up the heat and chuck in a thought at that time. All right, so that's why that can feel so scary. If you're talking to even people who understand OCD, it can feel. I remember I was overwhelmed with panic, hence why I spoke about this a lot on my journey. But when I started opening up about the thoughts I was getting and the real events, the false memories, and all the different themes it was latching onto, why I felt so guilty, I then felt an overwhelming panic of, oh fuck, oh my god, what do they think now? Are they going to judge me? Are they going to call the police? Are they going to report me? Are they going to say, oh my god, what? You're the only person in the world getting these kind of thoughts. Okay, so that can feel totally isolating, you can feel totally alone because of that. You remember, it's all part of the journey. Okay, so we learn to overcome these fears of being misunderstood, fears of being rejected, fears of being judged. Okay, these are sort of fears and the beliefs that we break down. All right, but I fully appreciate how scary that can feel when you first start on the journey. Okay, and of course, and like I said, that's why OCD latches to these kind of themes, these kind of fears, because it knows it's sort of that taboo related themes, and it's very difficult to open up and talk about. Okay, another reason why I felt like there was no way out, because I was going from one theme, I was going from one fear to another, one thought, got stuck on this thought, and then I was going to that thought, I was stuck on this memory in the past, and I felt like I'd get some relief for that, and then it would latch to something else, so I just felt like there was no way out of that cycle. I'm sure if you're going through that now, you can totally relate to that. And I remember wishing for other themes back, or other memories in the past. Well, no, I felt like that one was OCD, but this one now feels totally real. I want the old theme back. I want the old event back. I want the old thought back. Okay, that's how crafty OCD can be. It can feel like the last one was fine. I could get over that. I can cope with that. And now the one I've got now feels totally real. Feels like the exception. This one's different. Okay, all these things that can happen, and that is why it can feel like you're trapped, because you feel like OCD is always going to latch to something else. It feels like it's always one step ahead of you. Okay, and it is. Okay, if you let it, if you're trying to set boundaries on it, if you're trying to set limits, going, oh my god, OCD, please don't latch to that theme, then I'm sorry, that's like waving a red flag to a ball, because OCD is going to latch to it. All right, if you're saying please don't latch to that, OCD is going to go, right, how can I latch to that? All right, that's the analogy that I use. Alright, so it feels like that OCD cycle that you can't get out of, feel like a never-ending loop. I just felt like I was going round in circles and then going back to square one. Setback after setback, relapse after relapse. And that was very, very difficult, because I know I talk about a lot on the beginning of my journey, but when I was starting to get better, and I was starting to feel better overall, but then once I would be hit with a setback, I'd be hit with a relapse, and I'd feel like, oh my fuck, I'm back to square one. All that work I've done is meaningless, all a waste of time. Feels like the tools aren't going to work for me. I'm treatment resistant. I'm the exception. It's not going to work. And all that OCD rabbit hole that we go down. I went down that many, many times. If you're going down that rabbit hole now, you probably see me down there. When I was down there, hello, I've been down that rabbit hole. Okay, you're really not alone. I'm trying to sort of make a light joke of it. I know how serious it is, and I know how convincing it can feel, and it feels like there is no way. But I'm trying to sort of make that light joke of it, and that there really is much hope. I was in your shoes once, okay, and I'm doing really, really well now. Hence why I'm making these videos, helping out in the WhatsApp groups, and something that I really want to do is provide hope and inspiration. If you follow the OCD recovery page on Instagram, you'll see my recent recovery story. I did a big Instagram post, sort of 3-4 paragraphs long, stuff that I went through. And just, yeah, providing that inspiration and hope that I hope is really helpful to you if you're really struggling. Okay, and it does feel really impossible to give up compulsions. I wish I gave them up sooner. I don't look back with regret, but I just look back at I can only, what can I do? I can't go back and change anything. So healthily regret, yes, but I don't go back and beat myself up and say, why didn't you give up that avoidance earlier? Why didn't you give up that reassurance? Because I thought that was getting me better. It really wasn't. It was doing more damage than it was doing any good. Because any reassurance that I did, any confession that I did, any compulsion, any avoidance that I did, it just fueled the OCD fire. All right, look at it like that. You're just, long term, it serves no benefit whatsoever. It's a zero return investment. All right. Yes, we have to cut out compulsions. We have to cut out reassurance. Okay. When you do that, you are going to feel like crap. You're going to feel like shit. That's something to be expected. If you look at someone who may be addicted to drugs, if they give up drugs, the next day they're not going to be feeling on top of the world, are they? Going to be feeling like absolute crap. Okay, it's the same with us with reassurance. Reassurance is like our drug. So when we come off that, it's going to be very, very challenging and very, very difficult. Something to remember. All right. But I know how impossible it can feel to give that up. But we've got to just take that leap. We've got to take that risk. We've got to take that leap of faith. Okay. We've got to take that jump out of our comfort zone and go, look, I'm going to take recovery with both hands. I'm going to give it my best shot. All right, so I'm going to wrap it up there. There is so much hope, there really, really is. Like I've said, I've been in your shoes and I completely understand the struggle. I understand getting out of bed and you feel like it's latching onto something else where your brain's scanning, did that all the time, or constant rumination, scanning for something in the past, scanning for another thought, anything that you try to enjoy, so intimacy or any hobby, any interest, OCD would just take over that and chuck in thoughts, or I was so consumed with guilt, I felt like I couldn't enjoy anything. All right, so it's going to do that. But there's really, really much hope that you can get better. Hard work, persistence, and patience. Okay, there really is a way out. You're not trapped. You're not broken, and you can get better. Anyway, if you like this video, please leave a like. If you'd like to leave a comment, any suggestions for future videos you'd like me to do, please leave a comment. And if you're interested in any of our webinars, one-to-one services, please email phil@ocdrecovery.com. And if you haven't subscribed to the channel already, please do so. Anyway, you take care. Have a lovely day, evening. Sorry about the dartboard. That will come down at one time. I don't know when, but it will be down one day. And you take care. Bye-bye.